The volunteer fire department had prepared a meal of awesome ribs, pulled pork, baked beans, coleslaw, homemade rolls, all kinds of pies and cakes for dessert. I noticed that one of the cakes was decorated as a folded American flag. The people who prepared and served the meal were smiling, and it was easy to see they truly did appreciate us. The mayor of Mark Tree, Mr. Dixon Chandler, had some gracious words of welcome and presented a key to the city to Tree and myself. Danny and Barbara Adams explained how the wall came to Mark Tree and how all the funds were going to the scholarship fund in the name of Teddy Talley. Then they had us open our souvenir sacks that we had been given, and Darvin Brandt, a gentleman with whom I was privileged to serve in Vietnam, had, quote unquote, the winning sack and received a gorgeous handmade quilt that commemorated the entire weekend. Tree made presentations to the mayor and to Danny and Barbara, one of which was a gift from the company of $1,000 to the Teddy Talley Scholarship Fund. Then I was privileged to present a letter to the city of Mark Tree from the governor of the state of Arkansas, honoring them for what they were doing for us this weekend. Two of our brothers from the company provided some very special entertainment. Bob Moore and one of his singers sang the song 50,000 Names on the Wall, and Vance Doc Gifford read the very emotional poem, War. After that wonderful meal, we got back on the buses and moved towards the wall. As we loaded, I noticed the lights at the local high school football field were on, and I remembered that they were preparing for their homecoming game. I wondered how many citizens had given up homecoming activities to ensure that we had a true hero's welcome. It made me even more grateful for everything the citizens were doing for us. We arrived back at the wall, and everyone received candles and matches for the candlelight vigil. We all moved to the wall and asked everyone to refrain from lighting their candles until the names of their comrades were read. While we were moving to the wall, there was a lone bagpipe player. There's just something about that music from the bagpipe. I want to take this opportunity to pay special tribute to the men who read the names of our KIAs. Donnie Bullock from Charlie Company, Mick DeHart from Echo Company, and Jim Price from the Medics did an awesome job. I can only begin to imagine the emotions experienced by these men as they read, with honor, the names of our brothers who paid the ultimate sacrifice. I then had the privilege of calling the men to attention and present arms. The honor guard fired a volley, and taps was sounded. The ceremony then concluded, and we had quiet time at the wall. I remember going back to panel 2E to say my goodbye to Bedford. Miriam and her family were there, as Floyd's name is on panel 3E. It was a blessing to me to see these people saying their goodbyes. It was finally time to go back to the buses and back to Memphis. We quietly got back on board and prepared for the trip. Our bus was pretty quiet at first, and then we began talking to each other, trying to describe what we had experienced that day. I don't know exactly what it was about the day, but it did bring us closer together as brothers. Later, while I was talking with Ralph West, he pretty well summed up the day. He said that while on the bus ride home, his friend with whom he had served in Vietnam, Dale Shows, asked him, "Ralph, how does it feel to be a hero for a day?" He could only simply reply, it feels damn good. Upon arrival at the hotel, I spent a little time in the hospitality room with the guys, and the mood in that room was fascinating. People were talking, but quietly. It was as if we were all completely overwhelmed with emotion and trying to understand just what we had experienced. As I went to bed that night, I knew it would take quite some time before I'd be able to process everything we had experienced that day.